Let's start off. There are some differences between the NDAA, and I appreciate the comments that you've all made about this NDAA. We're going to get it through, and it's going to improve things. But differences between the administration and the NDAA. I happened to be in the Ukraine when they had their elections. And it's the first time, as all of you know, in 96 years, there's not one communist on the parliament in the Ukraine. And immediately afterwards, Putin came in and started killing people. And we were wanting, a lot of people were wanting to get defensive weapons over to the Ukraine. They're in this bill, but the administration was saying that they refused to provide defensive legal assistance to the Ukrainians for fear of provoking Putin. First question I'd ask you, do you think Putin really needs provocation? Or isn't he going to do it anyway?
He doesn't need provocation. I think I absolutely support being as forward-leaning as possible in helping our Ukrainian friends counter the aggression.
Yeah, the reason I asked the question, my feeling was at the time that he was doing this because the outcome of Parliament. He didn't like that, and he's getting bolder and bolder, as you have said. Yes, General Keane.
Well, there's a larger issue here. I mean, I think there's been a thought on part of the administration that any act like that, even assisting someone so that they can fight aggression, could possibly create an escalating situation. And I think we get paralyzed by the fear of adverse consequences. And there's clearly a pattern here. After not only did we not provide largely defensive lethal aid to the Ukrainians, but after Libya and Gaddafi was taken down, you could argue, should we have done that or not? But we did it. And the only thing the new elected Islamic moderate government asked for us was to help them create a defensive force to stop the radicals. And we said no. And as a result of that, we lost our ambassador, the consulate, and eventually the embassy. And the radicals are running around the entire country. The Syrian moderates, you probably met some of them. They were so desperate they talked to me. And they wanted, look, we don't want your troops, we don't even want your airplanes. Just give us some weapons to be able to fight this guy, Assad, because he's got modern equipment. He doesn't have very good soldiers, they lack will, but they got tanks and artillery and airplanes, and that makes a difference on the battlefield. Let us fight them. Give us some anti-tank weapons, some anti-aircraft weapons. And we said no. Look at the problem we have. I mean, that lack of support and engagement is mystifying to me. And to fear that because it may escalate into something else, and we get paralyzed by the fear that it may be something else, some of it's shameful.
I appreciate that. Let me just real quickly, my time is running out here. I was at the meeting also this morning with General Neller, and I commented, and he agreed that one of the problems that we're having is that we have the wrong priority on defending America. I think you just said it a minute ago that defense of American people shouldn't have a price tag. Well, we had a policy from the administration that when we're getting into sequestration, that we're not going to put additional funding into the military, and that's an equal amount that's going to be given to the non-defense portion of the budget. What does that tell you? It tells you that there's not a priority in defending America. And do you feel the same way? Do you feel that the next administration should have that priority changed?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Given the threats that we're facing and given the leaders of our military who are coming before this committee and telling us what major challenges and security deficiencies that they have, that we can't meet the threats that are out there. Mm-hmm. And what I try to explain to you is that yes, we have to make investments. Yes, we have to grow the capability of this force, but also we have to look inside this department as to how it does its business, and hold it accountable for that. But yeah, absolutely. This situation that's in the world today is going to get worse if we don't stand up to it. And I think we've learned a couple of lessons from history. our adversaries look at us in terms of real capability. And they see that gap closing just as we see it. And so rebuilding the military and putting that capability on the table is real. And in of itself, it becomes a deterrent. That is the wonderful aspect of this, and we learned that through the Cold War. But the other thing that has to be present, even though you have the capabilities there, and they know those capabilities are real, and they don't want to deal with those capabilities, if we don't have the intent to use that capability, it is not a credible deterrent. And they have to clearly understand where those lines are. Russia's aggression has to stop. China wants to dominate and control the Pacific. And they resent the United States having done it for 70 years. They are forward deploying forces to do that. That kind of aggression that's taking place that will lead to confrontation, they have to know that we are not going to stand for that. And they have to understand that. So the intent, as well as the credible military capability, is what is a credible deterrence. And you have to have both.
Mr. Chairman, I got to say, this is, I think, maybe the best panel that we've had in recent years. I appreciate your honesty, all of you. Thank you.